couldn't play against the Spurs, who had guys who could guard him. Meanwhile, in this series, Portland's trying to put Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu on him, and he's just going to town on those guys. He's taking them down low, teaching them a thing or two, and you know what, Jason? I think he might be the key for them, and I think there's a very good chance that they end up moving on from this series due to his play as well.
Well, you can argue that Denver's got the better depth. I mean, who would have thunk that a guy like Torrey Craig would mean so much to his team? Another guy that was a diamond in the rough. You saw him go down, come back, and the Pepsi Center just erupted. I mean, it's been so exciting to watch. I still have the Blazers, but guys not named Lillard and McCollum have to step up. I know Cantor's been playing well, Rodney Hood being the unlikely hero in that quadruple overtime win. But Denver's got more depth right now. I mean, that's why they were the 2 seed. But this series has been so good. We could talk about this for hours, man. I just love the way both teams are playing, and it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll leave you with one last thought, which is the other part of this that's been very interesting for Stotts is you can see Stotts has been willing to put Seth Curry out on the floor a lot more. And one of the reasons is that the guards for the Nuggets who aren't Jamal Murray have really not been able to do much. And as a result, you've kind of watched Stotts kind of push his chips onto the table. He's kind of wagering that, you know what? If Gary Harris and Will Barton aren't going to hurt me, I would rather put shooting on the floor. And I'm curious to see how he reacts in Game 5. He pushed the math further and further as the series has gone on, and it feels a little bit like he's going to start picking his poison there and saying, well, if you're going to play those guys on me, and you're going to have Millsap on the floor on Aminu, I'm going to just start going nice and small and spacing it out and hurting you on the other end because I'm going to make those guys work for it. And it feels like, Jason, he might take a page out of the D'Antoni playbook and start spacing the floor and making the Nuggets guard in space because that's where they have the advantage. They really don't have anyone who can guard McCollum and Lillard. And when they do and they space the floor that way, it gives guys like you mentioned, Rodney Hood, really good looks and helps them get going. And the Nuggets just don't have other perimeter players who can really hurt them defensively for making those guys. I mean, Rodney Hood, Seth Curry, not good defenders, but guys like Will Barton have not been able to take advantage of it. Gary Harris kind of took a step back this season. So I think that's going to be the game within the game to watch tonight, Jason, is to see how far Stotts will push this with his guards who aren't really great on defense versus how Malone tries to punish them when they do go smaller.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, I was at least right in one prediction. I've been terrible with predicting things other than I think I got 3 first-round series right. But I did say while we were wrapping up last week that, none of these 4 series would be over. They were all very deserving, going 5, 6, 7 games. No sweeps up in here. So these playoffs have been absolutely compelling. But we're going to take a quick back seat from the playoffs because next Tuesday is the very long anticipated NBA draft lottery. We're going to have Hill Boyce from DoubleGSports.com on to talk with us. Obviously, the Knicks are guaranteed a top 5 pick. Will they land that coveted number 1 pick and get Zion Williamson to Madison Square Garden? So a lot to look forward to. Do you have any predictions for the lottery? Because I think by the time we record this next week, it'll pretty much be determined.
I mean, Zion's going to the Bulls, Jason. Come on. Everyone knows that. It's
Well,
predestined.
that was another problem I had with Boylan because the Bulls really could have and should have tanked. They make that Otto Porter Jr. trade, and it pretty much takes them out of the running. They finish with a 22-60 record, and they could surprise some people. I mean, they have a small chance, but obviously you have those bottom 3 teams, the Cavs, the Suns, and the Knicks. One of them likely to get Zion Williamson, but Knicks fans are not going to like me for this. Not that Knicks fans like me anyway because I'm a Nets fanboy. But I'm going to go out and say that the Dan Gilbert magic will continue and the Cleveland Cavaliers will come away with the number 1 pick in the draft. What do you say?
I say I would be furious if they won another one. I think the dream scenario, instead of talking about my predictions, because I can't predict lottery balls any better than I can predict, anything. I think the dream scenario here, Jason, close your eyes, picture this with me. Trae Young's running the point guard position. You got Kevin Huerter spaced out. You have Mr. John Collins in the dunker spot. and Zion Williamson is setting a pick for Trae Young. What do you do on defense with Trae Young, who can pop out for a three anywhere, Zion Williamson setting a pick, who can go down, play make, you help off Collins, boom, dunk, and then on the other hand, everyone knows you're not going to try and take a charge or try to stop Williamson going to the rim. To me, the Atlanta Hawks are the ideal destination for Zion Williamson. I would do cartwheels if they ended up with him. I think second place though, Jason, that would be really interesting is what if he went to the Pelicans? If the Pelicans were to win the lottery, improbably, what do they do? Do they then hang on to Davis? Williamson would instantly become one of the best two players that he's played with in New Orleans. And suddenly they would be really good, Jason. And then would you almost consider trying to keep him? If you're Davis, do you consider staying? If all of a sudden you now have Zion Williamson? So to me, those are the two most intriguing spots that I would be fascinated to see kind of what happens if the Pelicans win, or more importantly, if the Hawks do. Because watching Trae Young, John Collins, and Zion Williamson would be basketball nirvana.
Can I open my eyes yet? I've kind of just had them closed this whole time.
Well, I
All right.
hope I painted a great picture for you.
For those of you listening, my eyes are now open. I know we don't have video, but no, that's a great scenario. The one thing I will say about the Pelicans is what if they don't get the number one pick and they still land Zion Williamson? Let's say, the Knicks get the number one pick, Kevin Durant comes, Kyrie Irving comes, and they say trade Zion for Anthony Davis, and the Knicks get Durant, Davis, and Kyrie. I think most Knicks fans would scream at that possibility. So, there is an increased chance of Zion landing in the Big Easy, but we'll see. That's just a bit of a tease. Like I said, we'll have Hill Boyce on this time next week. He'll break down the lottery with us. I think by then we'll be around the start of the conference finals, so we'll have a lot to unpack. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us again for another show. Ben, you have any final thoughts before we, as you say, let the people go?
Well, I just want to remind everyone, first of all, to subscribe, rate, and review.
5 stars, please. I love how we switch those roles now. I think we should keep that.
I think it's great. And then the other thing I'll remember is everyone just needs to watch these games. I mean, this is a special second round. We're watching tonight. Toronto is just blowing the doors off of Philly, but most of these games have been incredibly close, and we're shaping up for just a marvelous second round. And I think the conference finals are going to be pretty good too, because no matter who comes out of these two series, Jason, these are teams that are fun to watch in the Western Conference. I mean, I think you're watching some really good offense. And for those of you at home who really want to understand basketball better, this Portland-Denver series is one of the best coached I can remember in a while. Terry Stotts and Mike Malone, two of the probably more underrated coaches, Jason. And for those of you at home who don't know as much, watch these games and watch the sets that those guys run. Watch the way that they set screens and get guys open. We mentioned Nikola Jokic, but part of it is just that everyone on that team moves because they know they might get the ball. And the same goes for Portland, where the ball movement is really crisp. CJ McCollum, probably one of the headiest players in the league, a guy who didn't come into the league with tremendous physical gifts. So really great series there. As you mentioned, Jason, one of the best. So I encourage everyone to try to give that one a watch. I know it's 10:30 Eastern time, most of these games, but try to make your way to those games and watch a little bit because it's some great basketball out there.
Oh, for sure. So on that note, we are going to take it down for the night. We're going to watch the Sixers get blown out and then the Nuggets Trailblazers series. So thanks again for listening. Ben, you're beautiful as always, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.